All right. Hey guys. I was like, I've had it. Let's just go on a walk. Oh, let's go on a walk. All right. This guy was mowing and and I was going to turn on my video right after him, but I wish I had turned it on right before because I saw him. He stopped so that he wouldn't be spraying all the grass when I walked by. And so then, one second, there's people. Hi. So then I was gonna run by him, because that's what people expect, And he just was like this. He's like, here, I dropped my water. Hold on. He's like this. He's like, don't worry, don't run for me, girl. Just stay chill. Stay in your chill place that you were in, The other guy just waved. He's like wondering, his friend may be in the same place, like the same mellow place. Thank the maker. You see, when you pray and you ask for relief, it comes to you. Never, never, never be too much in your pride, in your ego self to pray. Pray for an answer. I was praying because I can't take it anymore. I feel like I put myself, or the world put me, and I was wrapped up in it, in a pressure cooker, And like, of course, I've given birth before. I lost one and then gave birth twice. So it's like, I know what it's like when you have to give birth to a person, a human being. It's not pretty and it hurts and it's hard, but like now I know so much more about consciousness. Hey, wait, my name is Dr. Cheryl Meyer, and I'm a psychologist and a life coach and a mystic teacher, if you want to call it that. But I help people navigate through their spiritual awakening as I'm helping myself navigate through my own, okay? I'm still a person. I have 20 plus years being a psychologist, but I'm a person. And, and a soul. We're all souls. So we're all equal on the soul level. We've all just had different experiences in life. And when you're open to magic happening like that, like you feel obligated from childhood programming to run, past a person so they're not stopped in their work, and they're like this, chill, it's okay. You don't have to run for me. I don't mind waiting for you, my lady, It's like, of course, it helps you. That's the perspective that I was shifting back into, that we wish the whole world had shifted into. I don't think this woman minds. I was just teaching before this. I do a Zoom class once a week, a Zoom coaching, with the people in my class, in my Awakening Your Intuition based on the book, The Power of Now. I teach it for a whole year. It's a whole year of videos, so people can take this class online by themselves. Okay, so anyway, I'll just tell you what I was doing. And so she was talking about making different decisions and stuff like that, but we were laughing because I was saying, imagine what person someone would want to date at the beginning of this class, and then after taking a year of going through the power of now. And this is just a general comment, so this isn't any of her personal business, but she was just like, yes. Because I was going to ask her, I'm like, can you just say that outside of our class? She's like, just imagine. She's like, all these 30-year-olds that I know that are like, oh, I'm not married yet. Just imagine if they took this year class first, how much heartache they would save themselves by learning more about your deeper I and being in yourself. You're not learning more like head knowledge. You're practicing being in your own soul self more. You're living a different quality of life. But let's go back to the pressure, because if I'm feeling it, then other people have to be feeling it. I know they are. That's why it comes up in my life And instead of being overwhelmed by it, I can just be like, hey, someone else taught me, a different YouTuber actually, or whatever I am, you know, it's part of my platforms, but she said, when that stuff comes up, just use it for your videos. Go start talking about it, because other people need to hear this. And so even if it's just one other person that gets to the end of this video, maybe it doesn't have to be the end. Maybe you got enough, you know. Stay on. Not kidding. So far, what's coming up is about not selling out. If you want to know the topic that's been percolating and working itself through, because it's so easy to sell out. It's so easy. What the heck, you guys? It's a very steep hill, so that you don't hear me breathing hard, it's because I've done this a lot, but I'm still, let's take a moment to be present. I was just like, I had my intuition was like, let's just go on a walk. Oh, let's bring them on our walk, right? Like I used to teach on my walk sometimes, or I'd go to a place and teach from there. But I was singing in the bathroom again, of course. I was just like putting this moisturizer stuff that's like a sunscreen, just in case. But it's been raining. Anyway, so in there, I'm just gonna sit here for a second. I'm gonna lean against this. Of course, like that's how the Holy Spirit, or whatever, however you want to call it, your intuition, inspiration comes to me through music. It's a muse, you know, like a muse, like inspiration inspires to breathe in. And I heard that song, he left a card and a bag of soap and a scrubbing brush next to his note. Said use these down to your bone. I have it on my channel. It's called Scar. It's a Missy Higgins song. She's from Australia, I think, or New Zealand. She has that accent. But it's like, you know, so I never go that far. Could you leave me with a scar? Anyway, could you leave me with a scar? This next one came in with shiny skin, just like him, you know, and they said, you got to do things just like this, you know, and I was like, wow, like who knew a year ago I would be singing that song, and then all of that would be happening right now to me. It's so strange. And I feel a feeling, like a knowing it's going to happen more. But don't let that stop you, okay? Don't let this stop you from being your fullest self. Like, what I'm doing right now is I'm preparing you as I'm being prepared. That's the knowing that I'm getting. Because you're meant to go out. You're not meant to be just a spectator in the stadium watching, you know? You're meant to find the gold in you and live that. Give that to the world, you know? If Christ said the greatest of these is a servant, it's not a servant to fear and to running after money or running after the lack of money, like worried that you're going to lose your protected place. You know, be wise. I'm not saying don't be wise. Be wise. But that's different. Everyone's saying be safe. I'm like, what? Where in the Bible does it say to be safe? You know? You don't have to follow the Bible. I welcome all religions. But it says love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And love your neighbor as you love yourself. Like, you think it's safe for me to give birth to a child? Like, now they've made it safer. And had I learned, that's what I was saying earlier, had I learned, I saw that in a flash, had I learned how to breathe deeply and be really present with the childbirths that I've had, you know, I feel like they could have been even more beautiful than they were, you know? I understand why people have home births now. I'm not recommending that for everybody. I don't know what's best for you, right? But I'm like, yeah, I remember that pregnant stomach. It was a long time ago. But, well, not that long. I'm just comparing this time right now when you're in a transition of your life. And a lot of people, we just went through the whole there's a paradigm shift going on in our world right now, right? Is we had experiences, one second. Hi there. We had experiences of deep breaths. We'll get to the trail. I'll show. It's so pretty. Here's part of it. So we had experiences where, as a whole world, people got quiet and shut down a lot of their normal daily activity. And now some people are getting back into all of it, but it's not working the same way they think it's going to work, and it's not going to work that same way. We're more, there might be a deer. That's a bird. Deeply in presence. We're more connected to this deeper part of ourselves, you know? But just because something is painful, right? Just because it might take risk or it might be painful for you to find out who you really are and why you're here and what you have to give back and how you can just learn how to be present with your deeper self. It's all worth it. It's all worth it, but you get to choose that. I don't get to choose that for you. What if I just had this problem, you know? I had like 1,000 problems like 2 hours ago. And I didn't have this discipline. What if I didn't have this discipline built up in me to be like, you know what? It's more important to set everything aside and go on a walk. Like, take care of your state of being. Take care of the other people that you care about also that are going through this. I can bring love to you at the same time by being honest. That's my superpower. 1 second. Oh, I forgot. I was thinking I had to go on a path I haven't gone on. I was going to go the lower path today. And I just went on the higher path. Maybe I'll take the lower path on the way back. I think I was in my mind that the higher path might be more quiet for us, but I just wanted to go somewhere I haven't been, you know? So that song is about, can you leave me with a scar? Can you just let me have a tattoo that says don't sell out, you know? But then will I remember what that means? Because when you're inspired and you're in a knowing deeper place, then you remember what all these things mean. And then it's so weird because when you're not in that state of being, you could be out and about and caught up in the world, and that same tattoo that says don't sell out, you know, unless you've connected it a lot to prayer, you know. Like if I have different religious things and music and stuff on my necklace that I wear all the time. If I see a Christ on a cross, you know, I can see it as just die to this outer world, die to it, just don't be caught up in it. It's such a waste of energy to be caught up in all the things that they tell you you need to be caught up in. Or, you know, if I go back to my programming from childhood and I'm in this state of being where I have to please everybody and be nice, you know, because good girls are nice. No, you know, then it's like, see, Christ was a victim. And it's like, no, he never was. Hold on. He chose to willingly give up his life. Look at these birds flying. That reminds me of the old videos where I never could tell if the birds were in because it would be sunny, you know. If they were in the shot, I was like, I hope I got them. It's so funny to look back on how far I've come just by persistently being honest and showing up as I am, right? I'm showing up as I am. Here's the pressure, guys. Like, there's all these marketing people and rich people that made all this money by marketing certain ways, and they're saying, you know, you have to do this, you have to make this kind of a video, and some of it makes sense, you know. Like, I have to tell you guys the benefits, I guess, you know. I'm like, don't you know me? Just sign up for the class already. Like, the class is amazing. It's just more of this, but you know, on in a disciplined way, going through the power of now. But so I understand, like, being disciplined, and like, I remember Elliot, my friend Elliot, having to go through this. Like, you know, we'll give you a $2 million advance, let's say, but it's going to cost us $1 million to make this music video and this album cover. So it's like, that's coming out of your profits or whatever. So it's just like, he's left with, I mean, he made money after that, but it's like he sang it in a song. He said, it's a game to you, him it's one of real skill. So glad to meet you, Angela. Yeah, it's like, someone's always coming round here, trailing some new kill. Says I seen your picture on $100 bill. There's always going to be people that are going to be takers, or that want you to sell out and think they can make a buck off of you, and they can make you a buck, and everyone can get rich in it. But it's like, set not your sights on riches, set your sights on love. You know, I know that sounds sing-songy or it sounds cliche, but you have to learn what that is. You have to learn what that is to do it. And you don't get it unless you walk it out. Look, I'm walking it out. Walking it out. I'm walking out this love. And every time I get caught up in a world's lie, you know, I get pulled in, you know, Or I look outside, I look, someone online the other day was like, stop focusing on the stone that's covering the grave where Christ was like resurrected, because the stone broke or whatever, and he wasn't there anymore. There's resurrection happening inside. So stop looking at the stone, But I did again for a moment, and it's just like, when you see people that you care about and it looks like, they're going off in all these directions that are away from you and away from your path, it's just like, I know what I was going to say. It's another song of Elliot's that was coming to me. I prayed so earnestly this morning. I was just like, God, you have to show up. Jesus, please, I need to show up. Oh, someone said the other day on a video, they're like, stay prayed up, So one of Elliot's songs it goes, flirting with the flicks, you say it's just for kicks. You'll be the victim of your own dirty tricks. Not surprised at all when really, why should I be completely wrong, totally wrong? So it's like, oh, let me just dabble in this thing over here. Let me just enter into this and I can get out easy. I'm just like, no, I'm like, keep it away from me, It's like, resist the devil and he will flee from you. He won't want anything to do with you because it's so annoying. You are, because you're like, I'm not into that. No, I'm not into that. I got my eyes set like flint in front of me. And I'm not saying I'm perfect at this at all. But I just felt like this slimy feeling, just so gross, because I know I am sensitive, right? And so it's like and it wasn't about me judging myself. I wasn't judging. I was just observing, because I've learned more how to get this in. Here, I'll show you the path for a little bit. How to get in this observing way of being. So you feel like you're on the walk with me. I'll show you. But the song, oh, I'm just flirting with these flicks, with this and that and dabbling in this and that. And it's just like, it's just for kicks. It's just for a lark. It's not going to hurt me, And then it's like, you'll be the victim of your own dirty tricks. Like, look at Elliot, He's not here anymore. He's dead. And he died sober. He wasn't on anything. He was sober from substances, but he was, as far as I heard, was breaking up with his girlfriend at the time, and the neighbors heard them all fighting. There's a whole book on it. You can go there. I'm not going to get into all that because I don't want to go down that road right now. Not right here, But I do know another story. And it just came up like, I don't know if yesterday was the day. Yesterday or the day before, I was walking here with my cousin-in-law, and she was telling me this story about someone she knows. So I'll just keep it vague about who it is and stuff. But this person that she knew kept enabling this unhealthy relationship, kept thinking like, well, this is the Christian thing to do. This is the kind thing to do, and she kept supporting an addict and paying for his addictions, and he ended up killing her and then himself. So she's not here anymore, and I was going, wow, that's horrible. Obviously, But she was saying how there are other people now, here, I'll turn it this way, that have learned lessons from this woman doing this, you know? It's like, you say you're just flirting with the flicks, you know, you're just messing around with this, but, you know, this is like a cautionary tale, you know? And I was taught by a mystic that you either learn by wisdom or you learn by the whip of destiny. You know, you learn by karma or by how it comes back to you, or I know another person that could have died from the same thing, from not paying attention to that higher voice inside of him. So I don't take this stuff lightly. I don't take it lightly. What I'm talking about is like, know yourself, know who you are, and know that no other person, no other thing is worth selling out for. No money, no amount of money, no deal. No person. It's not worth it. Like, who cares if I look stupid, you know? Like, for me, I was at this party and they started doing something that I was like, oh, wait, I walked away from that, you know? I'm not into this. And but I didn't know what to do in that situation. I did start praying and I was just like, what am I supposed to do? What do I do? What do I do? How do I take care of this, you know? And I ended up not separating as much as I wish I would have now. I'm really big into, like, you know, live and let live, like, let people be where they are. That's just where they are on their path, and I don't want to judge anybody. These people might want to stop at this view too. Let's see. See, I was taught in childhood to take care of other people. You know, like, that's your job more than to listen to that voice inside of you. But guess what? It's taught me so much. Like, guess why I'm here right now is I'm so passionate about teaching people how to find that inner voice and listen to it, you know? So am I a victim from childhood? Like, if I stay a victim, then I am. But I want to move out. But I also want to give myself grace, you know? I went immediately to someone I trusted the next day after that. And I was like, this was going on and I didn't want any part of that. And then, you know, and I've always heard about people. That was in LA, you know, and Elliot would tell me about parties that he was invited to, you know. Where he was invited, you know, to go other places and didn't, you know, in other ways. And it wasn't like that. It was like when you show up at a party like that, and then there are these other things. But I heard about this from other people that work in LA. It's just like that they'll just find ways to compromise people. And then, like, you know, then they'll want them to act certain ways and be like, hey, well, blah, 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 you know. I don't want to be too vague, but I don't want to go too much into this because, yeah, I know where it comes up. Okay, it comes up at different people's jobs. I understand more now. You know, things can be written on paper and you can be like, oh, I understand what that is. But you don't understand it until you've been in the middle of something like that. You don't really understand the pressures of what's going on around. And I'm here to encourage you. I'm here to encourage you. Infuse courage to say, like, it's never worth it to compromise yourself. And it's like the car accident that I was in the other day, you know. The car could have flipped, but it didn't. But I learned so many lessons from that car accident. It wasn't like I did something wrong to be in that car. And it wasn't like anyone was drinking. No one was drinking. It was just an accident. But it was like, I could have chosen higher, you know, and instead I was choosing to be nice. Same thing at this party. Nothing bad happened. It's just, I could have chosen higher, and instead I was just trying to be nice to everybody. And what's the cost? See, let's go back and look at what is nice, okay? Because this woman was trying to be nice to this person she had a soul tie with and she was married to. And she thought from her programming that it was nice, and he ended up killing her and himself, you know? And I'm not saying it's always going to be that dramatic. That's where my mind goes. And so, like, thank the maker that I was given an example, and now I can give that example to you. So her death is not in vain, you know? Because see, it's like, as long as she's letting her man be in this weaker place, you know, and she keeps enabling him to stay in that weaker place instead of rising up to the man that he could be, you know, by her working and her paying for him to keep going back. And he OD'd twice, I think, and you know, but lived, you know. And it's like, I don't know all the details of that story, and I don't want to get into it because I don't want that person to be identified anyway, you know. But just because you care about a person, you know, you think you care, is that caring to enable? Oh gosh, I'm seeing a whole scenario in my mind of someone that enabled someone else, and then they were enabling themselves, and they died. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with Elliot in a way, you know, because it's still an open case. They didn't say it was murder or suicide for that. I didn't want this to get so macabre. What's the word? Like, I'm getting at is just like what Elliot's saying, you know? So I know, and okay, so what Missy Higgins saying, so I never go this far. Could you leave me with a scar? Like I want to learn from these small examples. They're not small examples. Someone's life. There's 3 cases that just came up in my mind that I know have personally, where people's lives are not here anymore, you know, and I know some from my childhood too. Because look, you know, it's like there's a choice to go that way and there's a choice to go that way. There's a path in the road. And I know just in part, like, so yeah, Elliot's saying, you know, flirting with the flicks. You're flirting with the flicks, you know, whatever it is, you know, the flicks is like, it's a drug reference, but he was talking about the flicks in life also, always. He was always talking about taking the easy path instead of the high path. You say it's just for fun, you know, but it's like you'll be the victim of your own dirty tricks, you know. You don't have to be. It's like, choose this high road. Let's keep walking. Choose the high road. Choose what's noble, what is good, what is loving, what is present, deeply present with this deepest part of yourself, your soul self, or learn the hard way, you know. But how many lessons have we had already, you know? And I'm talking to myself, you know, as I teach this out, I'm learning all these lessons myself, because it's like, even if we go back to, well, let's go to the lady for a second. I was looking at, what was she doing? You know, why was she so afraid to set a boundary and be like, no, I'm not, because I've had to set so many boundaries and all of this and like let go of so much and cry so much for what I've let go of, you know, but it's made my life lighter and more beautiful. And then of course, new challenges come up, and it's like, are you really committed? You know, are you really committed to love? Are you really committed to integrity, to not taking the shortcut, you know? But it's like, why was she afraid to just say no to him and go, look, get out of the house. I'm not supporting you. You're choosing this every time. I wish you love. Get clean and you can come back, you know? Get clean for 6 months. What's 6 months out of her life versus not having her life anymore? There's other people involved in this, you know, that are affected the rest of their lives. You don't know what an impact you can have in this world, you know? It's like, you don't know how precious your time is and your integrity is. And, you know, it's like, part of you could be saying, you know, why am I watching this long video? But if it helps encourage you, that's the ocean right there. If it helps encourage you to stay on a noble path, to just look at the lessons you've already learned. You don't have to listen and learn from me. I'm not trying to lecture. I'm saying I want to look back and learn. 1 second. Hi. From what's been given to me, you know, to whom much has been given, much is asked. We're asked. So I was told by someone wise, you know, he said, Cheryl, you're going to have to take up the cross a lot more than other people, and not in a masochistic way. I'm just going to have to say no to things that might be okay for other people, but because I want to protect what I'm teaching here, you know, and myself. Why wouldn't I just do that? Because God loves me, and I want to treat myself with the highest level of integrity. But going back to, if you're not really aware of your deeper soul self and you're caught up in this outer personality, like I said in a video yesterday or the day before, where it's like, if you think that you are your clothes, you know, and you think, if I got caught up in this idea, you know, because we get caught up in our present day personality self, and I think, well, all there is Cheryl, you know, then it's like, we've got to promote Cheryl, you know, and it's like, no, that's just like, if I lose everything that I've built so diligently, like, you know, making a year-long class and all the songs that I've sung and taught and all this stuff on my Your Soul Songs page, if I lose all of that because I chose to do what I thought was the best, what was the wisest in a moment of time, and everyone's like, you're an idiot for choosing that. You could have, like, you know, danced with, you know, some movie star on this movie or something, you know, you could have opened up to this opportunity. If I miss all of that because I chose to do something wise and that I thought was wise and good in that moment, then so be it. You know what I mean? It's like, it'll all come back a different way. It's like, there is that verse that says God works all things out for good for those who are called according to his purpose. But it's just like, well, how much faith are you going to have? And I don't like just quoting verses. If you know me, then it's not like, I don't like throwing things out and just going, hey, because God says this, this is true. This is us, again, walking it out. Like, what is true? What keeps happening? Every time I choose the high path and I choose to let go of something less, and I choose something good and loving and wholesome or beautiful, you know, then it's like I get that warm feeling in my soul, and I just feel more aligned, and it's just like, it feels like more love can flow through me. But it, you know, your egotism can masquerade like that. It can be like, oh, you did a nice thing, you ought to feel really good about yourself. You did a wholesome thing, you ought to feel really good about that. So that's why I don't even want to get in that trap too of like calling myself a certain name, you know, like I'm this and that and that, you know. I'm a saint now because I have these titles, you know. I don't want to rely on titles. I want to be loving. I want for you, if you want that, to learn how to be loving, you know, to honor that part of yourself that longs to be loving and not hurt people like we were hurt, you know. And so let's say this woman, I don't know this woman. I never met her. I know the person I was talking to, you know. Let's say this woman had it in her where she was just like, well, I just want to be nice to him, you know. I want to give him a chance. He's had so many people walk on him, and that's why he's using drugs. And it's like, yeah, but why was she afraid to say no to him, you know? That's her being afraid. That's her. This is what I was saying to my cousin. I was saying, you know, every time I see another addictive person around me, oh, I can notice, because I'm a psychologist, they're addicted to something. It's like, what am I addicted to? How am I addicted to being nice instead of being wise, being true, being just, being like, I mean, there's mercy and there's grace, for sure. There's forgiveness and, you know, letting people start over right now. You can start over, you know. But where's the rule? Like, where's the rule? Why couldn't she just say, I love you so much that I'm not going to date anyone for 6 months, and I'm going to give you 6 months to like get sober, you know, take care of yourself. Otherwise you lose your family, you lose me, you lose, you know. Hi. It's like, why didn't she do that, you know? Now she's not here. blaming her, but I'm saying, here, look at this view. It's closer. Was she just addicted to this idea of what it means to be loving, which was not loving? It was not loving to not set boundaries on this person. You know, he had responsibilities to take care of, and she was not holding him accountable to do that. And when you take care of other people's jobs, look how imbalanced that makes her. Then she's so caught up in doing her job and his job that she doesn't even have the sense within her in that moment to and I'm not saying she's a victim. I'm not saying she couldn't have the sense. There's red ants. I'm gonna get up. But see, we get so caught up with life that it's like, then she keeps herself confused because she's so busy working 3 jobs, trying to take care of herself and another person, where it's none of her business to take care of that person. Let them sink or swim, you know? It's like what they say, if someone's grabbing onto you and they're drowning, and, you know, it's like, you're gonna drown too. Are 2 lives meant to be gone because this one life wouldn't just put their feet down, and they didn't realize, like, when you pray, you get out of your pride, you know, and you just say, God, help me where I am. Then suddenly your feet can hit the ground and you notice, oh, I just thought I was drowning, and I was drowning because I didn't know I could put my feet down on solid ground. You know, I didn't know I could put my feet down. And because I'm so busy, like if it's me or someone, you know, being pulled down by you thinking you're drowning and me getting caught up in your drowning, we both drown, you know. A running pair. Oh, I'm not laughing. There's just a song that's like 2 lovers jump out because they're in warring tribes, you know. But that's like a romantic story. This is not romantic. This is a tragedy. It's horrible. I mean, it is why I had to let go of Elliot. I just was like, I let him go, and I trust that, you know, if he gets sober, which he was at the end, you know, then he'd come back and we'd work together in some capacity. I just felt like we'd work together, but we're working together now, so it's weird in a way, you know, because I keep getting the songs and all these videos. So much is inspired by our friendship and the consciousness. But I didn't know at the time, you know, that I had to keep working on my own sobriety. What is broken in us and me? We don't have to label it as broken, but what's off balance, right? Here, I'll show the path again. Where am I in my outer personality self instead of living and acting from my soul? I know all of my videos are like late night conversations you'd have in college. Like, why are we here? What are we doing? You know? But I want to use the wisdom that I'm learning in my own life, and I've learned through school, I've learned through working with people, so that we can all benefit from it, you know? Why was she addicted? Okay, so what was her problem with saying no, you know? well, then I'm just going to be another person not giving him a chance. No, you've given him lots of chances, you know? I don't know how violent he was being before that. But, you know, when you've OD'd twice, you're being violent to your own body, and you've justified that, you know? You've justified the high is worth more than respecting my body. And it's not like you're thinking that at the moment, but that's what you're communicating, you know? I know someone that's been sober off a certain drug that starts with an H for just because these platforms will flag it or something. I don't know how much we can say. I think it's probably been like 10 years now since that. I remember her announcing it, you know, on social media. So it's public, but I'm not saying her name anyway. Let's just look at it honestly. I just want to look at it honestly because, you know, I honestly think that she was addicted to something maybe to the same strength that he was, you know? Same with Elliot. Even if he got off the drugs, he was addicted to negative patterns, you know, or still choosing to act upon them and trying so hard to get out of them, you know, and heal. It's like, why did she feel like she had to be his savior? And is that a savior? You know, why didn't Christ, someone was saying this the other day, why didn't Christ heal everybody that, you know, was within a 50-mile radius? You know, he could have just sent out his energy to do that. You know, he healed the people that came and asked him, or he healed the man whose friends lowered him down, you know. I guess that's just assuming if he let them bring them to Christ that he wanted the healing too, you know. They took apart the roof so they could get him to Christ. The roof is on fire. I mean it. If I gotta take a roof down to get me to Christ, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna be like those 4 friends. They say the 4 friends, you know, there's all these deeper esoteric meanings as well, or like the 4 disciples who chose to but most of them were martyred except for John, but he was exiled to Patmos, which is the most beautiful place ever. I have videos of it on my YouTube channel, so are like the 4 friends that carried the mat that lowered him down were like the 4 gospels, the 4 people that dared to write about their interactions with Christ, you know, so that we could know. This stuff isn't religious stuff. It's meant to free you so you have a higher consciousness, so you don't live as a slave to these lower parts of ourselves, you know. All that stuff is slavery. It's slavery. You think that woman was acting on a higher self to let someone walk on her, you know? Where is that love, you know? Oh yeah, that's the example I was thinking of too, is thinking of, you know, when there are, that you read it on paper, but then when you hear of actual people going through it, and then you experience something similar where it's like, you know, you think you're dependent on this job. You think that I'm not going to be able to pay bills. It's just an illusion anyway, because God will provide for you when you step out in faith to do what is good and what is loving. Like someone said it this way, where God guides, he provides, but just look at the Lord as my shepherd. I lack nothing. Therefore I lack nothing. When I walk the way, I'm called to higher truths. You walk out like on this, faith bridge that looks like there's no bridge there. And then you find out once you take a step, it is there, But these women that are in these workplaces, and then there's someone, and maybe it happens to men too, but majority of the time it's to women, like someone that has a higher position than them that could fire them is hitting on them, and it's like pressuring stuff, and it's like they just froze in the moment. I hear these stories of these women that just froze in the moment, and then they look at, well, what if I did date someone in a higher position? Maybe that's good for me. But then it's like, no, I don't want to date this person or whatever. But then they feel pressured, and then there's these complications, and it just gets really messy. I understand why they have all these rules, like HR rules, human relations. But then people get so caught up with the rules, people find ways around rules, and just like religion. My mom sent me this thing, not to get us down, where it was like 67%. This is just one study, so this is a small number of people. I don't know how many people. It was saying like 67% of youth pastors, which we don't really even have that. So, were like addicted to pornography or something, or struggling with it, or it's like, why can't we live in a world where people understand their sexuality and they're healthy, and we know what that is, Where even in marriages, people aren't practicing healthy sexuality within the marriage, and because I've seen plenty of people come in, and I won't go into their stories, but like years of not being with each other and years of all sorts of other stuff, it's just like, let's go back to being present for a little bit. Look at this. It's not about moralizing. It won't work for me to moralize to myself. When I just surrender inside my deeper self, and I learn how to be quiet and present, it's like this part of me just wants to live in harmony, live like nature before it gets all corrupted or something, you know? To be happy and joyful is like our natural state. It's our natural state. What do we think we get from pleasing all these people, or from trying to come up in the world in our own way, instead of watching what unfolds, watching how it happens in some magical way, you know, where I'm doing the work. I work hard, you know. I created these courses and stuff. But it's just like, you know, it's like the Lord of the Rings. Every time when Frodo is tempted to like put the ring on, just put the ring on and you can hide, you know, and it really shows him more clearly to the enemy, you know. When you hide, he shows up to them and they can find him, and it opens him up to the attacks that happen in the story. Hold on, I'm gonna get some water. The ring, yes, it makes him invisible, you know. Wow, Tolkien was so inspired, and he's so intelligent. He knew like 50 languages, right? I love Tolkien. He's like Bob Marley in my heart, you know? And just someone Christed, you know, anointed. But so even though this ring made him invisible, you know, and he could hear what was being said around him, the Sauron had made the ring so that he could control everybody. He gave them a certain amount of power in each of the rings, but then he made this one ring so he could control all the people that had the rings. You know, it's like ill-gotten power. But you don't realize it at the time. Frodo had to realize it from certain different times of putting the ring on and then seeing how the enemy could find him then, you know, because he could see them, they could see him. Oh, this lizard lost its tail. Hey, buddy. It's a beautiful lizard. I feel like that sometimes, you know, like there are consequences, you know. And I don't want to be so scared in life that I don't dare to do things because they seem scary to me, you know. And sometimes what's happening is I'm presented with choices that are not wise, that look like, oh, I need to just be daring. And I did that. Let me tell you, I did that, and it broke my heart for a year and a half. I still don't know if I was daring or what part of my intuition or whatever. But in a way, I had to have my heart broken so that I could learn all these lessons, you know, and not have it broken 1,000 times. Hi. Hold on, there's people talking. I don't want want to do something just because it's trendy. I mean, what if Christ wanted to like get his message out and he did mattress commercials, you know what I mean? And like outlandish mattress commercials. It's like he doesn't need to do that, you know? He doesn't need to do that. He just dies for the whole world, you know, and raises again. People still don't get it and they don't see it. Only 500 or so people saw it, but people died for it later because they knew those people and they knew a real faith because they had a relationship. Well, if you don't, I keep hearing this from other people too, if you don't have a relationship with God, you don't know this faith. You don't know it. If in your body, in your experiences, you're not noticing how you are being guided and taken care of, you know? Or there's other people praying for you, you know? Even in our hard lessons. Yeah, I was saying that in the other video. I messed up this other time because I trusted people too quickly, you know? And there can be very well-meaning people that, you know, like this woman, let's say, that's dead now, she could be very well-meaning and she could be like, oh, just stay in my house anytime you want. And you think, oh, she's such a good person and she wants me to stay in her house. But she's been putting up with violence and allowing that and giving space for that in her house. And that violence could come upon me because I wasn't more wise to get to know her and say, oh, well, she just knows my cousin and so that's fine. You know what I mean? And it's like, you know, it doesn't mean close everybody off, but it means be wise. Like, I think that's everything for now. We're almost at the top too, where the beautiful view is, but I have it in a lot of my other videos. I wish you so much love. Your life is precious. You're so worth being here. You're here for a reason. Ask God anytime. Ask divine love. Even if you don't trust love, you know, you don't trust God. You don't know Christ. You don't know. Just ask. Like, lower your pride and ask. You know, I always am asking now. Or I'm like, oh, I forgot to ask. Why not ask? And help will come in ways like this video and other mysterious ways of willing people who choose to try their best not to sell out, do their best not to. All right, much love.